Andrew's Doers. Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tina, Winona, and Una. Tina, Winona, and Una made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tina, Winona, and Una all together. One day, the king of Doubleburg's messenger said, Hear ye, the king of Doubleburg, his majesty, is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and cross shall marry his son, Prince Twinning. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsister, Tina said, he's going to marry me. Winona said, no way, Tina, he's going to marry me. Una said, both of you are wrong, he's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is very sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Twinning. And her fairy godmother asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, why are you crying, Cinderella? Cinderella responds, and sadly, I wanted to go to the ball and marry Prince Twinning. Her fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of double magic. She waves her magic wand and chants the magic words, dibbly dabbly dobbly doo. And all of Cinderella's chores are done, but the fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 2 pumpkins. The fairy godmother waves her magic wand and chants the magic words, dibbly dabbly dobbly doo. Again, turning the 2 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 2 strong horses, and then Cinderella's clothes into a gown and crown. I've never seen such a double-tasted gown. And get a lot of my glass slippers. Cinderella is now ready for the ball. Her fairy godmother said, have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Twinning was wondering who he should marry. Cinderella, of course. Tina, Winona, and Una shout out together, he's walking towards me! But he's not. But he is walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Twinning danced happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Twinning was so worried, afraid that she might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Doubleburg to find her, and brought the 2 glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door where Cinderella, Tina, Winona, and Una lived. But instead of Cinderella, he found Tina, Winona, and Una. Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on these 2 glass slippers? Prince Twinning asks. Tina is first, but her feet are too big. Winona is next, but her feet are too small. Una is last, but her feet aren't the right size either. Suddenly, Prince Twinning noticed Cinderella's sweet singing. Cinderella shouts excited, Prince Twinning, is that you? Prince Twinning responded, of course it's me. You are from my father's ball. I love you. Will you marry me? Cinderella gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Twinning back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and buy our merchandise. Take care. Bye. Oh, yeah. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 5 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tasha, Hannah, Rena, and the twins Ellie and Emmy. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Esme made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy all together. One day, the king of Tripleville's messenger said, Hear ye, the king of Tripleville is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Stripling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are... Tasha said, He's going to marry me. Hannah said, No way, Tasha. He's going to marry me. Rena said, Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Ellie said, All 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Emmy said, Are you kidding, sister? He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad because she cannot go to the ball. Suddenly, Cinderella's fairy godmother asks what's wrong. Why are you crying, Cinderella? She asks. Cinderella responds, I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Tripling. The fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. She waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word. Triply, trappily, troubly, true. And then Cinderella's chores are all done, but the fairy godmother said she's not done. She then said, Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 3 pumpkins. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, triply, trappily, troubly, true. And then the 3 pumpkins turned into a handsome coach drawn by 6 strong horses. And then Cinderella's do-rag and red dress turned into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, I've never seen such a triple-tastic crown and gown. And get a load of my glass slippers. The fairy godmother said, Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Tripling was wondering who he should marry. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy say all together, He's walking towards me! But he's not walking towards any of them. But he's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Tripling dance together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she's running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Tripling was so worried. He afraid that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled around Tripleville to find her and brought the tiny glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where Cinderella and her ugly, mean stepsisters lived. Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you try on this glass slipper? Tasha first. Hannah second. Rena third, and the twins last, but none of their feet fit. Suddenly, Prince Tripling noticed Cinderella singing. She is going, "Prince Trembling, is that you?" Prince Trembling said, "Of course it's me." Cinderella gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Trembling back. And he doesn't need to put on the glass slipper back on Cinderella's foot because it's so uncomfortable. And they both live happily ever after. The end. And now, Anna Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. What? Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 4 ugly, mean stepsisters named Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona. Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors. Wash the dishes. Do it all. Said Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona all together. One day, the king of Quadrillium's messengers said, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Quadrillium is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Forting." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. "He's going to marry me," said Fiona. Ophelia said, "No way, Fiona! He's going to marry me." Ursula said, "Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me." Ramona said, "All 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me." Later, Cinderella is so sad because she can't go to the ball and marry Prince Forting, while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Cinderella?" Cinderella responds, "I got lots of chores to be done. I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Forting." Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic." Cinderella's fairy godmother chants the magic words, "Quiddity, quaddity, quaddity, quoo," and waves her magic wand. Because of that, all of Cinderella's chores are all done. But Cinderella's fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, "Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin." Luckily, Cinderella has 4 pumpkins. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, and then chants the magic words, "Quiddity, quaddity, quaddity, quoo," and waves her magic wand to turn the 4 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 8 strong horses. And then Cinderella's clothes into a gathered crowd. Cinderella said, "I've never seen such a quadtastic gown. And get a lot of my glass slippers." Her fairy godmother said, "Have fun, mighty Cinderella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will turn back to the way it was before." Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Forting was wondering who he should marry. Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona said all together, "He's walking towards me." But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Forting dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realizes it's midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince 14 was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Quadrilingia to find her. I brought the 2 tiny glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door of the home where Cinderella and her stepsisters live, but instead of Cinderella, he finds Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona. He then said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can anyone try on these glass slippers? Fiona is first, but her feet are too big." Ophelia said, "But her feet are too small." Ursula and Ramona did the same thing, but their feet don't fit either. Suddenly, Prince 14 notices Cinderella's sweet singing. "The glass slippers fit!" Cinderella gets so excited because she's happy to have her Prince 14 back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And if you want to see some sequels, tell your friends about it. And then, take care, Andrew Stores. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella, with a bit of a twist. Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 4 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Nina, Isabella, Natalia, and Ella. Nina, Isabella, Natalia, and Ella made Cinderella do all the chores. "Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all," said Nina, Isabella, Natalia, and Ella all together. One day, the king of Nottingham's messenger arrives and says, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Nottingham is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Nottingham." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. "He's going to marry me," said Nina. Isabella said, "No way, Nina! He's going to marry me." Natalia said, "Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me." Ella said, "All 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me." Later, Cinderella is so sad about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Nottingham while doing chores. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Cinderella?" Cinderella responds, "I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Nottingham, but I have lots of chores to be done." Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic," and waves her magic wand. Because of that, Cinderella's chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, "Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice." Luckily, Cinderella has 9 pumpkins and 18 mice. Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to tell her the 9 pumpkins into a handsome coach, the 18 mice into horses, and Cinderella's rich clothes into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, "I've never seen such a non-fantastic gown, and get a load of my glass slippers. How can I ever thank you enough?" Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "Well, you can't. But have fun, Cinderella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before." Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Nodompling was wondering who he should marry. "He's walking towards me," said Nina, Isabella, Natalia, and Ella all together, but he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. "May I have this dance?" asked Prince Nodompling. Cinderella responds, "I would be delighted." Cinderella and Prince Nodompling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realizes it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Nodompling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Nodompling to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. By the time he arrives, he knocks on the door of the home where Cinderella, Nina, Isabella, and Natalia and Ella lived. But instead of Cinderella, he finds Nina, Isabella, Natalia, and Ella. Prince Nodompling then said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper?" Nina is first, but her foot is too big. Isabella is next, but her foot is too small. Natalie and Ella did the same thing, but none of their feet are the right size either. Suddenly, Prince Nodompling noticed Cinderella's sweet singing. The glass slipper fits! Cinderella gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Nodompling back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Doers, I hope you enjoyed this story. And if you want to see some sequels to Cinderella, something like that, etc., tell your friends about it. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise too on AndrewDoesEverything.com. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young adult girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 7 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Sophia, Isabella, Xavier, Tina, Eliza, Eloisa, and Nina. Most of them constantly made fun of Cinderella. They made her do all the chores. 16er wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Sophia to Nina. One day, the king of Sextacumlingham's messenger arrived and said, Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Sextacumlingham is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Sextacumbling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. They then argue over who will marry Prince Sextacumbling. Later, Prince Cinderella is so sad doing chores about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Sextacumbling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, Cinderella? In which Cinderella responds, I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Sextacumbling, but I have lots of chores to be done. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. She chants the magic words. Sextidentity, sextidentity, sextu, and waves her magic wand. Because of that, 16 chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet, she said. 16-year-old, go fetch me a pumpkin and some ice. Luckily, 16-year-old has 16 pumpkins and 32 mice. 16-year-old's fairy godmother asked the magicians, Sextidentity, sextidentity, sextu, and waves her magic wand again to turn the 16 pumpkins into a handsome coach. The 32 mice into horses, and then 16-year-old ripped clothes into a gown and crown. 16-year-old said, I've never seen such a sexticable-tastic gown. And get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? 16-year-old's fairy godmother said, well, you can't. But have fun, 16-year-old. But I will warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. And so, 16-year-old accepts the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Sexticale was wondering who he should marry. Sophia and Nina say all together, he's walking towards me! But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards 16-year-old. Prince Sexticale then asks, may I have this dance? Prince Sexticale responds, I would be delighted. 16-year-old and Prince Sexticale dance happily together. But later, 16-year-old realizes it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Sexticale was really worried that he might never see 16-year-old again. So he traveled all around Sexticale to find her and brought the glass slippers with him. By the time he arrives, he knocks on the door of the home where 16-year-old and her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 16-year-old, Prince Sexticale finds Sophia to Nina. He then said, ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on these glass slippers? Sophia is first, but her feet are too big. Isabella is next, but her feet are too small. The rest did the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Sexticale notices 16-year-old's sweet singing. The glass slippers fit! 16-year-old gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Sexticale back, and they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Knows Everything, and buy our merchandise at andrewknowseverything.com. Take care! Bye! And now, Andrew Knows Everything proudly presents 49erella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young adult girl named 49erella. 49erella had 9 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Farah, Olivia, Ramona, Tanya, Yvonne, Nina, Isabella, Natalia, and Ella. All 9 of them constantly made fun of 49erella and made her do all the chores. 49er wench, sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said them all together. One day, the king of 49ville's messenger arrives and says, Hear ye, hear ye! The king of 49ville is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Non-Quadragentupling. But 49erella is not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. They are overjoyed. They ran with huge excitement and picked out dresses to wear to the ball, but argue over who will Prince Not a Quadragentupling marry. Later, 49erella is so sad doing chores about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Nana Quadrupling. Whatever will I do? She went first. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and comforts 49erella. There, no, 49erella. I can help with a bit of magic. Nobody will know it's you, she said. She then waves her magic wand. And because of that, 49erella's chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, 49erella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice. Luckily, 49erella has 49 pumpkins and 98 mice. 49erella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 49 pumpkins into a handsome coach, the 98 mice into horses, and the 49erellas brick clothes into a gown and crown. 49erella says, I've never seen such a not a quadrangle-tastic gown! And get a load of my glass slippers! Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? And climbs into the coach. 49erella's fairy godmother says, well, you can't, but have fun, 49erella, but I will warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will go back to normal. And so, 49erella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Nana Quadrupling was wondering who he should marry. Wondering who to marry, son? asked the wise, kind-hearted, and bold King 49ville, to which Prince Nana Quadrupling responds, yes, father. You're going to marry me, Prince Nana Quadrupling, said Farah, the oldest of 49erella's ugly, mean, wicked stepsister. Farah, wrong. You're Prince Nana Quadrupling. You're going to marry me, said Olivia. Both of you are wrong. Prince Nana Quadrupling, you're going to marry me, said Ramona. The rest say, you're going to marry me, Prince Nana Quadrupling. But Prince Nana Quadrupling did not angrily denies the request. Suddenly, 49erella arrives at the ball just in time. Prince Nana Quadrupling sees her, walks straight towards her, and says, you must be 49erella. May I please have this dance? To which 49erella responds, yes, I would be happy to. And so, 49erella and Prince Nana Quadrupling dance happily together. But later, 49erella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she ran so fast that she left one of her glass slippers behind. Prince Nana Quadrupling was really worried that he might never see her again. The king of 49ville comforts him by saying, there, no, son. I think we'll be able to find 49erella. And so, the next day, Prince Nana Quadrupling and the king of 49ville traveled all around 49ville and tried to find 49erella, who captured Prince Nana Quadrupling's heart and brought the glass sliver she lost with them. By the time they arrived, they knock on the door of the home where 49erella and her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 49erella, they find Farah, Olivia, Ramona, Tanya, Yvonne, Nina, Isabella, Natalia, and Ella. Prince Nana Quadrupling then says, ladies, my father and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on these glass slippers? Farah is first, but her foot is too big. Olivia's next, but her foot is too small. Nonsense! It fits! She said. The rest did the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Nana Quadrupling and the king of 49ville noticed 49erella's sweet singing. Prince Nana Quadrupling and the king of 49ville, your majesty is Is that you guys? She hollered excitedly, to which the King of 49ville says, 49er, my dear daughter-in-law, we found you. Will you marry Prince Not a Quadrigent Toppling? 49er and Prince Not a Quadrigent Toppling are now married. They, along with the King of 49erville, lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrew Stewards. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and Andrew Does Everything, and buy our merchandise at AndrewDoesEverything.com. And take care. Bye.